Every morning, you probably eat breakfast, maybe some bacon. And you do it without spending a single second thinking about the living, breathing pig it actually came from.
Right, yeah. You just flip a switch in your brain.
Exactly. You just flip that switch. But, I mean, what happens when that exact same mental switch is used by a clerk who is, say, scheduling trains to a death camp?
Yeah, that is the terrifying part.
It really is. So let's unpack this. Today, our mission for you is to explore a radical rethinking of how ordinary people allow the unthinkable to become routine.
And our guide for this deep dive is the philosophical book, The Evil of Banality by Boris Kriger. It is a tough but really important read.
Oh, absolutely. Because he argues that evil isn't just, some monster wearing a boring suit. The banality actually is the evil.
Right. Kriger asks us to abandon this very comforting illusion we all have, the idea that there is some, moral bedrock beneath us.
Like a safety net.
It's exactly, a safety net. The universe doesn't have laws of physics that forbid cruelty. There is no cosmic wall preventing atrocities from happening. There is really only human action and the stories, or the frames, that we build to justify it.
And that brings us right back to that switch I mentioned. Because to function, our brains just have to filter reality, right? We kind of dim our awareness of suffering.
We have to, or we literally wouldn't be able to get out of bed in the morning.
Right, exactly. But Kriger points out how terrifyingly easy it is to just leave that switch off permanently. Like those historical clerks sending human beings to camps, they just focused on words like duty and cargo instead of people.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is the psychological mechanics of that switch. Kriger calls this a premature collapse.
Premature collapse, like intellectually. Wait, what does that actually mean?
Well, it is taking this agonizing, highly complex moral reality, like a terrified human being in a cattle car, and literally crushing it down into a tiny safe box.
Oh, a box labeled logistics or doing my job.
Yes, exactly. By collapsing the reality into a simple rule, you never have to actually face the pain of what is happening right in front of you.
Okay, so the rigid rule follower collapses their awareness to look away. They just, blindly follow orders.
Right, but Kriger warns that intellectuals fall into a mirror image trap that is just as dangerous.
The relativist, right. The one who endlessly complicates things.
Exactly. The person always saying history is gray and everything is nuanced and complicated.
Okay, here is where it gets really interesting for me, and I kind of need to challenge this a bit.
Go for it.
Aren't we always told that being smart actually means seeing the gray areas? Like, why is nuance suddenly a trap?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, we see that this endless suspension of judgment acts as a perfect alibi.
Wait, an alibi? How so?
Think about it. By refusing to ever conclude that a wrong is simply a wrong because it's just, too complex, the relativist keeps their own hands sparkling clean.
Oh, I see. They get to feel sophisticated.
Exactly. They feel sophisticated and above the fray. But by staying up in the clouds like that, they completely abandon the victims on the ground.
Wow. So both the rigid clerk and the sophisticated relativist are using totally different methods to achieve the exact same goal.
Looking away. Yes.
Looking away, right. So if following the rules makes you a robot and endless philosophizing makes you a bystander, where does that actually leave us?
It is a tough spot.
Yeah, how do we actually stay grounded when there is no cosmic wall?
Kriger argues the only thing that cannot be dissolved into a frame or a theory is a physical, suffering body.
The actual human body.
Right. That is the ultimate barrier. It is the one thing you can't just philosophize away.
He uses Dr. Peter Bryce as an example here, right?
Yes, a very powerful historical example.
Because Bryce documented the preventable deaths of Indigenous children in residential schools, and he found a mortality rate of 8,000 per 100,000, which is insane compared to just 50 on the outside.
It is genuinely horrifying.
It really is. And Bryce kept his mental switch on, and it completely cost him his career.
Because he refused to look away from the physical reality of those kids. And to do that, we have to make what Kriger calls the perpendicular move.
Okay, walk me through that. Because perpendicular move sounds a bit abstract. So what does this all mean for you and me?
Okay, so imagine a horizontal line representing a tug-of-war argument, like left versus right, or nuanced versus rigid.
Okay, I am picturing a horizontal line.
The perpendicular move is stepping off that horizontal line entirely and moving vertically downward.
Oh, I get it. You plant your feet onto the undeniable physical reality of that suffering person.
Exactly. You stop arguing about the nuance of the rope and you look at the hands bleeding from pulling it.
Wow. That is a really powerful image. You basically acknowledge the hard facts without using easy verdicts to just smooth over the tragedy.
Yes, you hold the tension. And this raises an important point about true mercy, too.
Right, because true mercy is holding the wrong as a wrong without necessarily reducing the wrongdoer to a mere monster just so we can feel righteous.
Exactly. It is an agonizing tension to hold, but it is entirely necessary if we want to stay human.
So, wrapping this up, Boris Kriger shows us that banality is essentially the smoothing of the gap between the world as it runs and how it actually ought to run.
And wisdom is refusing to close that gap.
Refusing to close it, yeah. So the next time you find yourself saying an issue is just too complex to judge, ask yourself something.
Something very uncomfortable.
Exactly. Ask yourself, are you genuinely seeking the truth, or are you just using nuance as an alibi to switch off the light?